Hello YouTube, my name is Paul, I hope you're keeping well. I'm back again with another pickup video. I'll show you some of the Ocean Software games I've been picking up for the Sinclair Spectrum. Now I've got this bunch to show you and another bunch of a similar size, and that would be it. Well, not it, because I've still got a couple of games to get hold of, but it in terms of pickups. Now I've got a few Amstrad games to show you in the future, a few ST, a few Amiga, a couple of Commodore 64, one Mega Drive game, and I finally finished an Amiga collection. Been a long time in the making, but finally I've got the last game for it. So all will be revealed over the next few weeks and months, whenever I get this bloody Ocean Software stuff out of the way. But anyway, so yes, I'm after a full set of Ocean games on the Spectrum. I'm also after a full set of Ocean games across all different platforms really. I managed to achieve the Amiga set last year. Spectrum set I'd hope to finish this year, it'd be great. Amstrad, there's only one I'm waiting for, and that's a game called Space Gun, which is brutally hard to find. It was destined for the cartridge system, but only came out on floppy disk, the 6128 Plus, and was only released in France, so it's really difficult to get. Obviously there's a cartridge based game by Ocean Software for the GX4000, again brutally hard to get, with only two known to exist. Commodore 64 wise, I've got a full set of games that were exclusively released on the 64, but not on the Spectrum or Amstrad. They were on the 16-bit machines, but not all of them, because some of them were really old games that only came out on the Commodore 64. Games like, for example, High Noon. So I've got every game I want for that, again except for one cartridge game, which was not officially released, but again only known to have 2 or 3 copies in existence. So a lot of what I want is bloody tall order, because I'll probably never ever get them ever, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't, but it'd be lovely to get them in the collection. Pickups wise, I mean, I don't really want a lot more. I mean, I'm not going to go for any new machines now this year. I was going to, but that's been set back due to recent purchases. But the games I want predominantly are difficult to get, really difficult to get, or they're common as muck. I mean, there's some Spectrum games I'm after that they're on eBay now. It's just waiting for them to come up for like a couple of quid or something. Same with the ST, the Amiga. There's literally 3 games I want on the Amiga, both Premier Manager games I used to have, and Player Manager by Anko, which was absolutely crap. Not the first one, but number 2. But yeah, it's not a lot I'm after, and I'd be quite happy to actually say, right, let's get these last PlayStation games, last Atari games, these last games I just mentioned, and then just, that's it. Have a break for a bit and enjoy not collecting. I don't not enjoy it, but you spend so much time finding these games, especially the really hard ones, because you just, I suppose in some ways, you don't want to miss them. So you spend a lot of time looking for them, and a lot of that time you could be doing something a lot more useful, like playing bloody games. So yeah, I'm sure I've said that before, but I would like a break of some description. But yeah, there's not loads of games I want. The ones I do want are rock hard, but the majority of what I want aren't, so I'll probably just pick them up as and when throughout the course of the year. Right, so Spectrum games then. So all these games, or most of the games, small box Spectrum releases by Ocean Software. I've got one larger box, which is quite unusual on the Spectrum. Large box games by Ocean Software didn't come up very often. And one game I had to go to Spain to get, because I finally found out it never got a release in the UK. So there's one game to strike off my list. So first up is that said Spanish title, and that is Beach Volley. This game probably set me back about €10. More money went into postage than it was actually into the game. And the game is nowhere near as good as the Amiga. Well, the Amiga version is the king, or the ST version. The Amstrad version I've had for quite some time now. Now, for some reason, I've only ever seen the Amstrad version for sale in France. The Commodore 64 version you could only get as part of a compilation, and obviously the Spectrum version didn't get a UK release. But yeah, crap game. I think it was developed by Choice. It also brought us the conversions of New Zealand Story. So if you're quite happy playing New Zealand Story without any graphics except for the platforms on the Kiwi and the enemies, that's kind of what you get in there. It's just a yellow screen with the sprites and a net, really. That's pretty much it. Right, next up is a game which is very difficult to get for some reason on most formats, especially home computers anyway. The Spectrum version, I've only ever seen the one that I got, which I got from a guy who used to have the biggest Sinclair Spectrum collection in the world. I'm pretty sure I've said that before as well. But he's selling his games off. Some of them are quite expensive, but I've had a couple of bargains out of him. The game was also released on the Amstrad, but you can only get it on the 6128 Plus, which I've just mentioned. And it also came out on the Commodore 64 cartridge, disc and cassette, but the cartridge version is brutally hard to find. I managed to pick it up for about 90 quid as part of a bundle a couple of years ago, but I've not seen it as a standalone auction for years. This is a Spectrum version, which again doesn't hardly ever come up. A Space Gun, which is obviously an arcade conversion from a Taito arcade cabinet. The game's very similar to Operation Wolf, just set in an alien world, and it plays quite well on all the different formats. The only problem with it, which is an issue that a lot of these companies failed to get across in their conversions, it didn't have the speed of the arcade. It was quite sluggish, but graphically it looked really good. And the Amstrad version, as far as I know, is just a port over of this with a couple of plus elements thrown in to make it play a lot smoother. But yeah, really pleased to get this one. I think this one cost me 35 quid. I've never seen it come up on eBay. Not to say that it's mega rare or anything, I've just never seen it. And inside the box you just get the cassette and the manual, as per usual. But yeah, be interested to see what this kind of game goes for, but yeah, I thought I got it for a decent price. That's Space Gun. Next up I got from the same guy. A lot of these games come from that same guy. For some reason he doesn't normally go below 20 quid for his games, so some games I may have overpaid for, some games I know I didn't overpay for, so it kind of balanced out in the end. This is Poznik, again an arcade game developed by Taito. I didn't play this one as much as I played Plotting, and when I first played this game I played it on the Atari ST. There's screenshots there from the Spectrum. No, not Spectrum screenshots. It's not a bad game, but brutally hard. But inside the box, the usual stuff: baggy, cassette and instructions, but another quite hard game to get on a Sinclair Spectrum. But yeah, next up is another arcade conversion, another Taito arcade conversion. That's Pang. When I first ever played Pang on the Spectrum, I didn't think a lot of it. When I played it again once I loaded this one up, it was actually quite good. I was quite pleasantly surprised. There's no GX4000 basher, but it's not a bad conversion in its own right. My favourite conversion of this game is obviously on the Commodore Amiga. I never played the console versions like the Super Nintendo or anything. This one again cost me 20 quid. I know Big Mike, without further ado, Retro has this on the Plus 3, which is an amazing find, bearing in mind how difficult Plus 3 games are to get. But yeah, chuffed to have this, not a bad conversion. Again, I've seen it sell on eBay for about 20 quid, so I don't think I got a bad deal there. Kind of paid the going rate, I guess. Next up was quite a cheap game. Now these games generally, because of the size of them, get posted via a small parcel. So that in itself is £2.85 just to send it. And that's Midnight Resistance. I think this one cost me 4 quid, including said postage. Very good conversion. I think I had this on the ST. The Spectrum version was programmed by Jim Bagley of Special Effects fame. Very, very good conversion. Remember my mate having this back on his Spectrum. I don't remember playing it. So yeah, very, very good game. I enjoyed it a lot on the Mega Drive. The Japanese import was brilliant. The Amiga version wasn't bad either. Now next up is a brutally hard film tie-in. I think the next batch of games are mostly film tie-ins, and they're all bloody hard. And that game is The Untouchables. Again, a game I thought I beat on the Spectrum. It's the ST version I completed. I played this one whilst making my top 10 movie tie-in video. I couldn't get off the first level. I got to 90% of all the evidence you needed to collect, then died. Unfortunately, running into the enemy causes more harm than being shot by the enemy, so that made it twice as flipping hard. Getting the usual bump inside there. Usually just get a baggy cassette and a instruction pamphlet. This game I think was part of a bundle. Most Spectrum bundles tend to cost about £1.50 per game. Obviously depending what games are in the bundle, but general bundles are about that. So this was about £1.50. So I'm really pleased to have that game. It's a very good game. Again, like a lot of these, if you persevere and you manage to get like an extra screen further each time you play it, it kind of keeps your interest. Well, can't really sell it for the next game though, because this game was diabolical. And that's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I didn't realise how bad a conversion this was. Music's cool, straight out of the film. Well, not quite straight out of the film, but you know what I mean. Sounds like the theme, the Terminator. Unfortunately, I'm missing the free limited edition badge, which is quite a nice little badge. Yeah, usual gump inside. Now this game is set. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, this one, because most games, when you play them, you kind of can relate to the film. This game has 3 sections. You're kicking the crap out of the T-1000. That's it. That's literally all you do. You knock him down 4 times and you're on to the next level. 2 levels of driving sequences, a bit like, say, Street Hawk, if you ever play Street Hawk on the Spectrum. They're both top-down. One, you've got the kid on the back of your bike, you're trying to avoid the lorry. Now, if you follow the path set out to you in the game, you'll be dead within 10 seconds. Or to play through footage of this and literally stay to the right-hand side of the screen and didn't die. And the other bit, you're trying to shoot a helicopter or something, but bloody hell, it's hard because you keep crashing into things. So brutally hard, but much of the game is the same thing, just repeating itself. So it's a shame really, but it's a really poor game. Next one is actually a very good game, but I've never seen the film. That's Hudson Hawk. Now, I played this game, I was really hooked to it actually. A lot of these platformers also have a lot of puzzle elements as well, especially for movie tie-in games. For some reason, Ocean Software decided to put a lot of puzzles in them. Now, a very good game. I've not played a lot. Unfortunately, there's a bit of sun fading there. This game, I think, I'm not sure I bought it off this guy for 20 quid. Or I got it as part of a bundle. I can't remember. I know Terminator was part of a bundle, so that would have cost me next to nothing, really. And the Untouchables was part of the bundle. Yeah, I'm not sure if I bought this one independently for 20 quid, which is about the going rate for this game. I'm pretty sure I bought it on its own. And next up is Total Recall. For those who didn't know, it's the second iteration of the game, because the first game either wasn't finished or they scrapped it for some reason, I don't really know. Again, a platformer, bit of a puzzler, a game which you will make progress very slowly. And I suppose the idea of this game is just remembering where things are, so next time you get to the level it's pretty straightforward. But my memory's not great, so I forget what the flipping I'm doing half the time, and it can be quite frustrating. Again, another game I got as part of a bundle. It's quite cheap. Yeah, it's alright, it's a good game. Not brilliant, it's not bad. Next game I first ever played, I think on the GX4000, then on the Amiga, and the Spectrum. Now, the Spectrum version is quite well presented. It's got really good music, it's got really good graphics, it's just bloody brutal. I never got off the first level. I've never got off the first level on the Amiga or the GX4000 one either. But this one I think cost me 20 quid as well. But I think this is a swap out. So I got a £20 copy from the guy down the road. This one I think came as part of a bundle. And I sold my other copy off, I think, for a similar amount to what I paid for it. But Navy Seals is really good, but surprisingly quite hard to find. And the next Spectrum game, I think, was the last Ocean release across all the 8-bit platforms. There were some games after on individual platforms, but that was the Addams Family, which came out on everything, pretty much. It was probably one of their bigger franchises after RoboCop. Again, the Spectrum version is very hard to find. I can't remember if this one cost me 20 quid. You may have made me pay 30 quid. It didn't make me pay it, but you know what I mean. I think it was something like that, 20 or 30 pound, but I've never seen it come up on the Spectrum since I've been looking for these games. Very, very hard game, set across 250 static screens. I think I've only seen 20 of those screens. I've played this game for quite a bit, but you need pixel perfect jumping. It is an absolutely brutal platformer, but it's technically brilliant. The game looks fantastic. It's got a lovely introduction sequence, but yeah, it's fantastically presented. It's just flipping hard. Now again, I've not seen this game come up for auction on the Spectrum, but I recently picked it up on the Amstrad. So that's brilliant. Next up is probably one of the weaker film tie-ins. Again, a game I'm not really quite sure what the hell to do. That's Nightbreed, the interactive movie. This was 20 quid. Common theme here, they're all 20 quid. I've not seen it come up on the Spectrum. I think it would come up in one bundle, which I failed to win. But that's the only time I've ever seen it on the Spectrum. Don't often see it on the Amstrad either, but it's quite popular. It's quite common on the 16-bit machines. Now the 16-bits also got an interactive movie version of the game, which is quite even more common than this one. Well, unfortunately, it didn't materialise on the 8-bits. Now the game itself, you're kind of just going back and forth into different screens, coming across different kind of weird monsters. And you just bash them and then go to the next screen, but I'm not quite sure what to do. To be completely honest with you, it didn't hold my attention that long. But that's Nightbreed. Nice cover art though. Right, RoboCop 2 is next, another brutally hard game. I quite enjoyed this after I played it multitude of times and got a little bit further each time. Just those conveyor belt sections are a pain in the arse. Again, a very cheap game, got it as part of a bundle. Now this game comes with a free postcard for those who didn't know, so keep an eye out for that when you do buy this game. Very good game. Again, I think it's done by Special Effects for Ocean Software. very common, so this game is quite cheap to pick up. I think I've had 2 or 3 copies of those recently and have replaced, well, swapped them out for the better box version. Alright, not many more to show you now. Next up is Darkman. This is the second copy of this I had. The first copy I bought from the guy down the road for 20 quid. This copy I got as part of a bundle, sold the other copy on for 20 quid and kept this one, which is probably, well, it's vastly superior to the one I sold on. Again, a game that is brutally hard. The game mechanics aren't great. If you played Renegade 3, a diabolical game, it's similar to that. The way all you do is kick and punch. That's it, and bounce across the screen dodging bullets. I know most of these games are quite simplistic anyway, but that's all you do. You only got 1 poxy life. That's it. There's energy you can pick up, but not until level 2. And I think the energy is hidden behind loads of bloody falling bombs. So by the time you get that, if you're lucky to get it, you die on the way back anyway. So yeah, it's a very hard game. Again, like I said, 20 quid. That seems to be the going rate. I've seen 2 or 3 of those sell for around 20 quid. I've already shown you this game. It's Untouchables, but I picked this one up. I think it came yesterday. It cost me 10 quid on the Spectrum Plus 3. I don't have many of these games on disc. It's nice to pick them up, especially when they come up for a decent price. I think when you got RoboCop, Platoon and Batman the Caped Crusader, none of these games have cost me more than 10 quid. Now Big Mike, without further ado, retro collects plus 3 disc games, and he knows how difficult they are to pick up and how much they can go for, because some of those games go for 3-figure sums nowadays. I'd love to have the full Ocean set. Well, you can't actually get a full Ocean set on plus 3 discs because only half those games came out before the plus 3 even come out. But I'd love to get as many plus 3 game discs as I could, but that's a very, very, very tall order. I mean, it's like a magnitude of 100 compared to the cassette versions. Well, imagine a plus 3 version of RoboCop 3. Bloody hell. Right, last one. This one was the most expensive one. It cost me 65 quid, but I've seen this game go for anything between 80 and 250. That's Battle Command. I'm not sure this is a spiritual successor to Carrier Command. Kind of a similar sort of game. Never played it, to be honest. It's like vector graphics or filled in polygons or whatever. I think it's just vector graphics. Nah, I think they're filled in. Again, not played it. I mean, the box condition's pretty good. I've only ever seen this on the Commodore 64 once. I've never seen it on the Amstrad. But again, I think it only came out on the 6128. But the 16-bit versions are easily obtainable for hardly any money either. But yeah, good game to get hold of. Got to say, one of probably the top 5 hardest to get Spectrum Ocean games you can buy. Along with Tank, RoboCop 3, I would say. Sly Spy, this. I think that they are pretty much the most difficult ones to pick up. So that's it. That's it for the Ocean software pickups for this pickup video. Like I said, I've got a few more, but not many. But yeah, in terms of pickups generally, I'm not really after a lot, which I've probably already alluded to be honest. So I don't want to buy too many games. Not after the pickups I've had this month anyway, so I'm not going to go for any different systems at this moment in time, probably not even for the rest of this year. I'd rather just focus on the systems I've got, get them done and have a rest. I think you don't realise how much it takes out of you looking for games that are really difficult to find. There's most really hard to find games you can't just go out and buy in a bundle. Very rarely shops have them. You only ever get them really if other collectors are selling them on, which I can probably say that for probably the majority of the rarest games I've got, I've never just gone out and got them on eBay. Well, not as part of a bundle, if that makes sense. I've had to go and get them via a collector who's already got them, not just from Joe Public. That made any bloody sense at all. But that's it. There's nothing else to show you this month. Well, there is, but I'm not going to show you them this month. I'll show you them next month and the month after. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. I'll see you all again real soon. So take care. Bye for now.